Welcome back to the World Championship Series round of 16 for WCS Winter. My name is Fear Dragon. I am joined here at the desk by Nathanius, and we are going into our decider match for Group C in another PvP.
Yeah.
The rematch from the first series of the day that was already a bit of an upset.
It's not the original, it's the remix coming up. We got ShoWTime going against DnS. ShoWTime, I was very scared to see him have that that loss, losing 2-0 to DnS in the first match.
And being down to 0-1 in the lower bracket
being
match.
down 0-1 to Hellraiser, Dynamas Zealot. Oof. I had I couldn't hold all the limes, Fear Dragon. It was painful.
It was definitely pretty scary for any ShoWTime fans out there, as I know that there are a lot of them. But here we go. We're going for the rematch, DnS versus ShoWTime. Like you said, Nate, this was a 2-0 the previous time. We're going to see if this time ShoWTime is going to be able to bounce back, if he's learned his lessons from that initial PvP. As we go into the bottom right-hand corner of Port Alexander, top of that red Protoss player. His name means the wall, and he is reconstructing it. It is ShoWTime.
Fan favorite, of course. His opponent in the Northwest, our blue Protoss player. He is DnS. I want to give a shout out to my boys in the chat, the Twitch chat, hanging out with us, watching the stream today, and the girls as well. Also giving us some wonderful nerdy jokes about DNS's name. It's the best.
Domain name service.
Yeah, man.
Every single time I complain about my DNS server being off or Google's DNS server being down, DNS is always the first person to just chime in with a, "What are you talking about? I'm right here." I'm like, "Oh, you."
Well, what if he responded next time? He's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I'll get up earlier in the morning." You know, he's like, "I actually was down all day. I was just sleeping the whole time." You know what I mean?
That's true.
Take it to the next level.
That actually makes
Really, really awful DNS jokes. We get even more.
that made me realize that my DNS server only ever seems to go down in the morning when DNS is awake.
Real question is, why isn't he in the 404 clan? You know,
Is there a 404?
next
clan?
step. I don't know, but if there isn't, there should be. And then whenever the game starts, you just say GLHF not found or something equally terrible.
I also just noticed that Cascade's clan, it has an exclamation mark in it.
Yeah.
CSC exclamation
You got to fight for those clan handles, all right? I just want you to know, and I tragically was reminded of this recently, that Blizzard does reserve some of the clan names for professional esports organizations. And
Really?
teams to have their teams, yeah. So that when they, for example, when they released the clan feature, they like protected EGs and whatnot. There's one protected clan tag. Nobody is in the clan. I want it. It's the USA one. You can't get it. You can't. Nobody is in it. If you search for it, it will appear, but no one is in it. So you cannot message anyone to ask for an invite. You cannot create it. And that's, to me, that's actually
What about
the
the
greatest.
Canada clan? The Can clan.
You know what? It's probably ambiguous enough, but I guess they're like, you know, we want to hold on to the USA clan because we don't know who's going to use it for what purpose. I'm letting you know. That's what I want. That's what I'm campaigning for 2020. Nathanius, head of USA clan on NA.
Who will you invite, though?
Who will I invite? M. Canning.
M. Canning is the only person that
It's
gets.
just me and M. Canning.
Just you and M.
And if
Canning.
anybody ever gets close to our level, maybe we'll invite them too.
Okay, well, I'll see if I can pay you off later. But we do have Stargate openings from both sides. Double adept follow-up here for DnS, whereas we do have, I think, just a third stalker also on the way here for ShoWTime. ShoWTime going to be playing it pretty safe and kind of keeping an eye out for any sort of shenaniganry that could head his way. And he even starts up a Phoenix first, and that does get scouted out pretty quickly. ShoWTime has not actually... Okay, there's the Phoenix scout. Sees... Yeah, it's going to be Phoenix versus Phoenix, Nate.
That's my favorite PvP fight right there. Wow, here's Phoenix.
The hallucinated Phoenix versus the regular Phoenix.
It's the Golden Age Phoenix. So basically, this is the Phoenix that just graduated high school,
Wait, really?
got a job, and dumped every dollar
It's got a bunch
into
of
neon
cracks.
lights.
Look at all those cracks on its wings.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like an
that's the
LED.
cool style. It's like wearing
That's the
ripped
Golden
jeans.
Age?
It's like wearing ripped jeans, man.
Deaths, by the way, making their way in, sniping off 2 workers. Nice lift up with the Phoenix. And be able to, loses a third. But still, shutting that down. Could have been a bit worse since he did not have a shield bat or anything building at the front. I don't know, man. I think a Golden Age era Phoenix should be absolutely pristine. With
Yeah, but
no
isn't
flaws.
it kind of like a weird thing though? Like, so the Golden Age is meant to represent like the good old days of Protoss, like, you know, back when Dragon Ball Z was on at 6 o'clock and everyone was carrying around Tamagotchis, but Phoenix didn't exist back then.
That's a good point. I don't actually know how that works. We do have, wow, really nice Phoenix micro from both sides. Neither one of these players losing any of their Phoenix, but we do see slightly higher hit points on one of the Phoenix there for DnS. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but it definitely can make a big difference depending on how things go. Hallucinating some stalkers here. DnS playing a little bit interesting of a style, and this
is having none of his nonsense.
Oh yeah. What's interesting is he does still have a Nexus behind this.
I think you see that the Sentry's out of energy as well, and you're like, well, where did that energy go? Did he send a hallucinated Phoenix to scout if I was attacking him?
Well, now we end up seeing these Stalkers make their way forward. One of these Stalkers takes a lot more damage than the others as Hallucinations die pretty quickly. The Sentry goes down first. The Hallucinating Stalkers not actually absorbing too many shots here. ShoWTime forcing a probe pull.
Really good. Smart move here from DnS. He is significantly ahead on workers. Anything he can do to get this push off of his back before these batteries finish is huge. Does kill one of them.
Oh,
the other one
is gonna kill the battery.
It's gonna do a little bit of restoring, but yeah, that battery is dead as well. Great hold here from DnS.
Yep, and now with a Phoenix count lead, this should be a complete shutdown. A Stalker count lead and the Phoenix count lead. He should be able to lift up some of these Stalkers. If these Phoenix get a little too over-aggressive, not quite getting the snipe
yeah, I was
there.
gonna say his Phoenix could actually win the fight now, because the two of them are on 0 shields and like 5 health. He had gone for it. I think he could have gotten both of these.
You just slaps down a second Stargate.
Careful, man.
Oh no, ShoWTime, ShoWTime.
Focus fire of the Sentry, do it.
Well, not focus firing down the weakened
We
Phoenix.
did not get to see Ultra Instinct ShoWTime in this battle, tragically.
Yeah. A lot of those Phoenix are still very low on hit points here for DnS, so he wants to pull back. He's getting up the second Stargate, and that should completely solidify his victory in the air.
Why couldn't he just get him with the shield battery push? Why does it have to become Phoenix versus Phoenix? Okay, actually, you know what?
It's Twilight
Getting
Council,
a
though.
Twilight.
And he's hiding a pylon up the top right. Dark Shrine. That would make the most sense. It is sometimes a little funny, because if you go for double Stargate and you identify that your opponent's not doing that, you feel a lot more comfortable moving out with your Phoenix. And this is very far out in the open, but occasionally, every once in a blue moon, those Phoenix will wander around the map looking for your opponent, and they'll stumble across that pylon. There it is, Dark Shrine up in the top right-hand corner. ShoWTime identifying that his opponent is not going to have an Oracle, it's not going to have any Robo
He's
units.
going straight into a Fleet Bacon as well, DnS.
This could really backfire.
He's got the oil on the pan heating up.
Hallucinating Phoenix gets taken out. ShoWTime still producing more Phoenix as well. I actually wonder, he's getting a Robo. Even if there was an Oracle made, technically his Phoenix could just try and right-click down any form of detection.
Maybe. I'm very interested to see where this goes. As a Protoss player, DnS should be very aware that the biggest weakness of his build is the lack of detection. So, you gotta think about it at some point, right? You gotta ask yourself the question for your dragon. If my Phoenix can kill everything, what could I die to? The only things it can't kill, invisible stuff.
You know, I would agree, but the last thing I think of when I think of ShoWTime is cheeky comeback wins, right? You think of super solid.
No, come on. ShoWtime's dug himself out of a grave once or twice before.
He has. It's just that I wouldn't really call it the standard. If there's one player, I would say maybe you could skimp on this and not worry about it. It would be ShoWTime.
If you asked me which StarCraft player I thought could get themselves out of the Kill Bill Volume 2 situation at the start, ShoWTime would probably be the first player on my list.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hearthstone could probably squirm his way through the dirt as well, but yeah, ShoWtime's jacked enough. He'd punch his way straight out.
Well, the DTs have arrived. They're going to start working away at those probes. They do one-shot them, and we see that DnS is trying to get the counter damage done. He's got a significant Phoenix advantage. There it is, GG. Just taps out.
DT.
I'm a little bit surprised he doesn't try to use one of his 3 Stargates to get out an Oracle, and he also had the ground, or like the army advantage.
Showing respect. He's also trying to mess with us, because now we're not sure if the players will be ready for WCS Americas, because these Europeans are killing each other too quickly.
That is a fair point. But either way, ShoWTime still nets himself a victory there after kind of going down quite a bit in that game. So
yeah, that was a good play.
Congratulations.
I mean, he tries to make the attack work. DnS, despite investing more into the economy early on, he's able to, he kind of trades a bit of it to get the probes out. And I think if he doesn't bring the probes out, it becomes really hard. ShoWTime maybe wins that a lot faster. You
also, sniping off those shield batteries is really, really nice because as soon as you also seize the Phoenix War, the victory over there, then you start lifting up your opponent's stalkers and stuff. Things get very, very dicey. But that's a hard call to make in that situation.
And shield batteries don't heal each other, by the way. Like you have to
automatically.
Yeah, you don't. You have to manually tell them to do that. So when the 2 batteries finish and they're both hurt, it's like, well, they're gonna obviously try to heal the units. So if you want to save the battery, you kind of have to stop healing your units, and then.
Yeah, and you're kind of busy also microing your stalkers back against all the probes and microing your own Phoenix.
It's not fun. Yeah. It's not fun. StarCraft is a difficult game. Turns out that when you play at this high of a level, it's actually not that easy.
Turns out that the game that people literally dedicate their entire career to right now is pretty difficult and actually rewards a lot of skill.
That's good though, because we don't want bad players to rise to the top easily. It doesn't make any sense.
You don't think I could rise to the top?
You're taller than me, so you're actually closer to the top than I am.
Oh, wow.
Despite our difference in MMR for your dragon.
I don't know. We can get. There's a couple more boxes right here.
It's really a matter of perspective, if we're being honest.
I think you're actually taller than me on the broadcast right now. Oh, camera's gone. You'll never know.
I brought my, you guys don't know this, but I wear my curb stomping boots to WCS these days because we're already over, what, double the rain from last year in Los Angeles this year?
Oh, you know what's beautiful is that we don't have any more rain until the end of the broadcast for tomorrow.
That's great. There's basically so much rain and water. Just so you guys know, Los Angeles doesn't really have anywhere that water drains to in the streets. So basically there's just, all of the curbs are moats now. So.
Isn't it ironic that the entirety of California, which is built literally next to the water, has absolutely no preparation for handling water?
Well, to be fair, they don't really, this is an abnormally large amount of rain. So
it is.
It's not that surprising. Anyway, we're loaded into the game. Let's see if this man can stop the flood of failure in the top left. The red Protoss player, he is ShoWTime.
You know how many people gave me shit on Twitter and Team Liquid and everywhere else about saying like TLO stands for the losing one, and then you say he's trying to stop the flood of failure?
Well, he lost a PvP today, which by ShoWTime standards, is actually
he didn't 4-0 his group.
Yes, but that's the standard we hold him to.
I actually am kind of with you a little bit.
If Cyril dropped a map, if Cyril came close to dropping a map in any of his games, I would have been like, wow, really disappointing day for Cyril.
That is fair. That is fair.
That's not me being overly critical. That's his fault for being so good that he has broken my expectations of the players in StarCraft.
Yeah, well, this guy has also broken some expectations today down in the bottom right-hand corner. He is DnS. Broken expectations, performing better.
Just like I would be disappointed if a player like Fantasy left a game when it was over, you know? You've got to wait.
You know he hasn't had a Fantasy GG timing for a bit, right?
I know. Well, has he though? Fantasy is the kind of guy that he would make a stake, and then it would be like, well done, and you're like, oh my god, you've ruined it. But it's like, no, I'm going to wait until it's actually charred now before I take it out, and then I'll get rid of it.
Oh. We do have a double Adept opening here from ShoWTime, by the way. So he is going to be trying to put on a little bit more pressure this game. I want to note that it was DnS, I think, last game that tried to go for some of the Adept pressure. But Stargate follow-up immediately behind this. The Adepts chase away the probe. The probe maybe going to look for an opportunity to sneak back in a bit later or go for its own proxy. All right, going to sneak back in. It might be able to get a beautiful scout on that Stargate because usually you have an extra 10 or 15 more seconds before the probe needs to be at the front to block off any Adepts.
Yeah. And you want to see this. You want to see what's going on.
Yep.
You want to know what's happening.
Adepts make their way forward. They're going to scout the Stalker over here. The probe is here, so fully wall off. You know, whenever I just see a single Stalker, sometimes I always wonder, like, the two Adepts can actually take on a single Stalker. Do you want to maybe get some damage done? Especially if they're walled in, then they're going to rally their units to the inside of the wall. They have to cancel the shield battery.
If the Stalker retreats to the ramp, and the sentry's there to kind of back it up, as long as the wall is still there, like, you should be okay, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
see
mean,
what you're saying,
you shouldn't lose too much.
Like right now, ShoWTime has reached meme level of like 4 Adepts is not very common, and then if you go for like the 3 Sentries, for example, then you could just like kill them. But yeah, like what you're talking about here, the Adepts do a good poke. Problem, of course, is that the Stalkers can kite them. Adepts have like 4 range on their attack. Stalkers have 6.
You know what I saw, I can't remember which Protoss player, I think it was an NA Protoss player doing this, where they went for the 4 Adept opening, but then they weren't shading all 4 Adepts at the same time. They were shading 2 at a time, and then they would get an idea of when that shield battery was about to be canceled, and they would wait for that moment and try and time it out so the second wave of Adepts would come in.
Forcing your opponent to finish the shield battery is also a huge victory if you can manage it as well, because they do have to kill it. Nobody is going to accidentally wall off their main base from their natural and be like, you know what? Now I'm good. I'm just going to use recall to move my units between my bases now. This is my life now.
Well, no actual losses on either side. I think a single probe, the scouting worker there for DnS, gets picked off. The Oracle has not been able to accomplish any form of damage whatsoever, but it's also stayed very healthy. So it can come back in, it can Revelation, it can get a good scout out. And after seeing a decent number more Stalkers, and of course seeing no actual Stargate from his opponent, you should have a decent idea of probably what his opponent is up to. It's going to be Blink Stalkers and an Immortal or 2 being produced from that Robo.
Lots of Stalkers. DnS has shown us he's a big fan of them. He likes the blinky boys. These are definitely Sentries.
Yeah.
Really good grabs there. And then it's just, all right, trade out for a couple probes, as many as you can get with 4 Adepts. And actually no focus fire from those Stalkers. It's kind of tricky. These Oracles are going to use Revelation. DnS quick to the draw with the warp in there. But I think that bit of harass really successful from ShoWTime, as we've seen a million times over and over and over again. Adepts do kind of suck in those big PvP battles. Yeah. And the Adept's role is to be that harassing unit, to be that scouting unit, and when it calls for it, the unit that you mass and get resonating glaives, and then you try to fight with it. And even then, it's still kind of in PvP. But I like the decision to throw them away. You're freeing up a little bit of your supply, but you're also getting the Sentries, which is huge. Denying, I mean, he doesn't have any anymore, right? So
nope.
Or he does.
He just warped in one more. It looks. No, he actually warped. Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty recent. It's only 60 energy. One. So you're really limiting some of the scouting options as well, limiting the amount of hallucinations that they're going to have.
And getting perfect scouting information on your opponent throws down a Revelation. The Stalkers blink into the Twilight Council on the Forge just in case ShoWTime had not seen it before.
Yep.
So that Revelation, of course, providing that vision. Templar Archives on the way here for DnS. It's not like DnS is actually doing anything that necessarily needs to be hidden. He's going for a very standard, well-rounded Protoss composition with the Blink Stalkers, the Charge follow-up, Immortals, Archons. This is what we see most PvPs end up on. And ShoWTime is going to be a little bit later to the punch on that, but he adds on a lot more gateways. He's playing a bit of catch-up, while he also has the ability to just be annoying.
There. If you don't lose the Oracle, that's huge.
Yep.
Denies the probe and gets the Revelation. But another nice side effect of doing this from ShoWTime, by the way, is just he knows that he's not being attacked because the Stalkers have to stay home to defend. And if at any point, of course, they didn't stay home to defend, the Oracles just kind of walk in and microwave the whole mineral line.
Hallucinating Phoenix does make its way into the main base and sees a pretty normal looking setup as well. Sees that the Templar Archives is finishing up here for ShoWTime, and that his third base is not super duper fast or anything, so DnS still going to feel okay about this game. I think it is just about where the, I guess, the macro is going to be on both sides.
This really is going to boil down to the micro, I think, before the fight, in terms of like any Prism shenanigans or what these Oracles do. But you've kind of already mentioned, I mean, we both have players going for everything the same. Charge, Immortal, Archon. This is just PvP in a nutshell. Or pistachio shell, really whatever. They're kind of the same, actually, if you really think about it. Don't think too hard on it. It's just gonna be a straight up mean mouth battle. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to tell you as the Phoenix flies over and dies. We have the Golden Age High Templar / Archon skin. Really nice. To me, the Golden Age one just looks like much more high resolution of a lot of the normal textures. You know, very shiny. Get a little bloom, little J.J. Abrams lens flare going on.
Stalker's ready and waiting for those Oracles. Going to be able to deny that, but Revelation keeps getting thrown down. I like that ShoWTime still has these Oracles alive. They are extremely useful in the later stages of PvP if we can keep them up. just being able to throw down revelations and get an idea where your opponent's army is, position yourself better, that can actually make or break the difference in these kind of big PvP skirmishes.
Yep. And you know what? The worker count's still very similar.
Yep.
You gotta be careful, like when you're thinking about where you're gonna put your chrono boosts, because it's hard to get really far ahead in something like the upgrades. And then you want to have your economy increase, but you don't want to overinvest into it and then die because your opponent has like 5 more zealots than you know, or something weird like that.
Yeah, there is a timing for that kind of stuff. What's sort of interesting about PvP is it feels like once you get up to enough Archons, the zealots are just kind of there for the sake of being there. It's like, because I had extra minerals and I need to absorb some of the Archon damage, but the difference between having 10 zealots and 12 zealots when there's 5 or 6 Archons doesn't feel like a lot.
You know what I really like though? Those oracles swung down to the bottom right corner behind the main right before ShoWTime decides to push out. And what he's planning to do here is he wants to just make him bring everything to defend and then send the oracles in, kill the whole mineral line. Whether or not he wins the fight, he's going to gut the economy.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, there's 3 stalkers there, and if those 3 stalkers are all going to sit there,
stalkers,
if all those stalkers are going to be spread out like this Fear Dragon, ShoWTime's like, well, I'm just going to have my full army fight you, which is the advantage of you being defensive all game.
Absolutely. That is a decent chunk of the army there for DnS. ShoWTime behind us just establishing a 4th base. The Oracles actually dive on in, getting a revelation down to see a handful of the units over at the 4th base. I think that ShoWTime should know that most of the army is over there.
Yeah. At the same time, does he really want to push up the ramp into the natural?
Take out the rocks. That is maybe another option to move into the natural.
You've got a lot to live for, ShoWTime. Don't do it. Okay, he's going to go back. I like this move. Take the 4th base. He's got a monstrous army, so he's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep you from ever getting a 4th base. How about that? Oh. How about you get stuck on 3 bases forever while I expand?
That is the money revelation. He's going to try and move up. Look at how zealot heavy the army is here for ShoWTime.
Zealots get caught behind the Archons too. They got to let them. There we go. There's a little bit of a path for them to get through. Another issue you're going to run into here, though, is a lot of ShoWTime's units in the southwest part of this army are just shooting at pylons, Fear Dragon. You have to be really careful to not shoot at buildings. Bring back those oracles. I actually really like this. Now the oracles are going to start microwaving probes behind this.
The zealots, a lot of the zealots here for ShoWTime, the reinforcements actually make their way around the Archons, though. And now the Archons have been taken care of. ShoWTime can warp in his own zealots, and he's going to be able to storm through.
I love the oracles as well. They did a great job in the zealot versus zealot battle. Oracles really assisted ShoWTime in a big way there. DnS crumbles. GG. ShoWTime is moving on and has completed his redemption arc. Feels good. It's like,
yeah,
you know, it's weird.
All is right with the world.
Yeah, it kind of felt like one of those Metroid games where he like starts and then he's like, oh my god, like I've lost my ability to play, and then he finds it along the way and he's like, all right, let's go, and then brings it to him in that PvP. Oh, yeah, ShoWTime's back.
Yep, he is in fact back, and as a legend once said, the best kind of back is a comeback. As M. Canning, of course.
Is that an official M. Canning quote?
No.
Okay. Because I was going to say his lawyers were about to call us for stealing that line. You gotta be.
Well, he is going to be playing later on today, so maybe he'll let it go, as we are going to be seeing M. Canning in the Americas group facing off versus Knee, Puck, and Epic. But congratulations to ShoWTime, again, advancing on. And because of the nature of the next round, it's not as big of a deal if you advance out 1st or 2nd in the group. Nope. ShoWTime advances on. It's a round robin. He's going to play versus everyone anyways, so it doesn't really change who he's facing off against or anything.
Yep. So that's the results for Group C, as we have ShoWTime and a Laser making it out of the group. Really well done by both of those players. Those are the 2 picks that I would have had. But, you know, I'm always excited. I love watching American StarCraft.
This is the all-American group right here with all-American players. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, big congratulations. I wish that we could have a little bit more time to like talk about what was so cool about that last engagement there from ShoWTime. But I'm sure I actually saw Hearthstone was doing a bunch of tweets about these games.
He is breaking
stuff down.
The analysis that we are not bringing you. So, shout out to you, Kevin DeConing.
go check out his Twitter. And in the meanwhile, guys, I think that we are going to be heading to a break while we get America's ready. It might be a slightly longer break than usual.
Yeah.
Just because
ideally
we finished really fast.
Ideally, we get the matches rolling as soon as possible, but just so you know, the broadcast for America's technically starts at 11. We've just gone so fast. You know, M. Canning might still be doing his like supermodel shoot right now. You never know. Epic, actually, I think Epic's flying a helicopter. It was supposed to touch down at 9:45, so we may have to wait a little bit for these guys.
If he's flying in a helicopter, it may actually be back from the hospital right now, because Epic is, I was talking with him, he is very sick right now.
Goodness, I don't know. He's doing it for fun.
He's doing it for fun?
No, don't take this that far.
No.
Goodness.
No, but seriously, he's really not feeling well today. I'm hopeful, but we'll talk more about America's after the break. We'll see you guys on the other side.